No, there it is. Okay. Hello, everybody. It's Brian and my co-host, Mama Kitty. You're not like, you're not like, Leo the Lion or something in the beginning of movies. Oh my goodness. You're ornery. You're an ornery cat. What? You're a pain in the butt. You're a pain in the butt. Yes. Oh, I've got Q-Tip has joined me as well. So there we go. Sorry, I got sidetracked. My co-host has meetings with me, and I'm supposed to, what do they call that? Capitulate when she comes by. So. Oh my goodness. Okay. And that would be our local motorcycle racing enthusiast enjoying a nice drive. Okay. Weird. Looks like I'm gonna have a little AV sync issue. Well, the good thing is we can squidge right on over here and take a look at, God damn it. I don't understand. Sometimes I wonder if things are against me when I'm working on Firefox. There we go. Oh, okay. That's because, yeah, that went away. All right. So turn off VS Code. Yeah, I moved browsers, so I'm back again on Firefox. Weird, and so thought we'd talk a little bit about some news, talk a little bit about what's going on in the world with regards to things that got janky, and so for those of you who enjoy Kali Linux, which is a very popular pen testing suite of tools. It's basically a Linux distribution for people who enjoy security and pain. And they ran into some issues. They just lost their PGP key that they use to verify signature, their key is missing. And they had to roll a new signing key for their Kali repository. So the signing key that they use to ensure trust in their archive on Kali Linux, all 16 terabytes of packages that you can helpfully install on your own Linux distribution, they lost it. They lost the key. And so they had to roll a new one. So if you're running Kali Linux right now, you might have some trouble with your apt update in the near future. In the coming days, it says in the coming days. So my guess is it might expire on like the 31st, or they've set it to expire after so many days. There's not a lot of information on here. They said in the coming days, pretty much every Kali system out there will fail to update. You're likely to see this error when you attempt. An error occurred during the signature verification. Repository is not updated and previous index files will be used. The OpenPGP signature verification failed. So they use an OpenPGP. And they say this is not only you, this is for everyone. And I probably could increase the font size here so everybody can read it proper. And so there's been no update since the 18th. So technically, nobody's been impacted yet. They froze the repo so that they don't have any new updates to the repo. And they're in the process of unfreezing the repo this week, which is the week of the 28th of April. And it's going to be signed with a new key. Now, if you currently have a Kali instance running, you're going to have to do a few things. So you're going to have to add a new key to your archive, your user shared key rings in your Kali instance. You can use curl if you'd like to pull that down, which it's not hard. You're going to pull that down, but of course you should. They suggest that you verify the checksums are the ones that match below. So your old key, the old signing key has this key, and the new signing key has this key. Looks like they're using the same type of key. I'm still a little, what do they call that? Scared? No, not scared. Not concerned. It's just, how do you lose a PGP key? Especially the signing key, the private key that you use to verify that your entire Linux OS build and archive and updates is, lost. I mean, how do you lose that? You should have, I'm not saying what you should do. It feels like that would be something you'd want to control, have, only certain people have access to it, or have the ability for more than one key to be able to sign that efficiently, and add it to the keyring. So have maybe a break glass developer who would also have access to that, or maybe the person who is the head PM or something. The fact that you can lose a PGP key is concerning. It could be that the only person who has the key had a hard drive failure and could not recover any data off of their laptop. They do suggest in the FAQ that they didn't get hacked, right? They say, so your key was compromised, you don't want to admit it, right? So they're trying to say, well, you lost your key. Somebody gained access to it. Somebody hacked the laptop or the device that it was sitting on and lost it. They suggest, you can still see the old key in the key ring. If it was compromised, they would have issued a revocation, right? They would have issued if there was a loss of trust in this case. It just feels like maybe there was some unavoidable issue where, the head developer, head maintainer had the only key on their laptop instead of in some sort of escrow somewhere where they could have gotten it back if they needed it. And a single point of failure occurred. The one thing I did not see in the QA here was, what did you do to make sure that this doesn't happen again? And so, that would be nice to see. Now, I haven't used Kali Linux in, I don't say, 7-8 years, only because I found it too bulky and bloated and full of shit. Not full of shit. It was bloated in that it was a number of, if you pick the kitchen sink version or you pick the GNOME version, it just installs a ton of stuff. And every time I seem to have needed it and run app update, as I am wont to do every time I use my system, would results in 300 to 400 packages that needed to be updated. And I wasn't even like installing roll plus dog in this case. But I found a bunch of software that it didn't really need to have on there. And I actually went to a lighter version of that because it's just a really weighty piece of software, and you use maybe 1% of everything that's on there. I mean, it's nice to have that available if you need it for certain things. But yeah, it was just, I just found it too weighty and ended up going to, I think I went to Pentest Framework, right? Pentest Framework, PTF, which was, this here, Pentester Framework, which maintained by Dave Kennedy and TrustedSec and those folks, and it's a bit easier. And it allows you to install what you want on most any operating system of a Linux flavor that you have. There are some restrictions. You can install whatever you want. one of the reasons I used Kali at the time was because I thought, oh, it's got Metasploit on it, and that means it's great, and I don't have to worry about trying to figure out how to install Metasploit myself. Kali had Metasploit there. You could also install Metasploit via this as well, and you can I'm not sure if they're. I'd like to believe they're still maintaining it. Let's see. It's been a few years. Maybe they don't. Maybe this. 7 months ago. Okay, so maybe it's in a not a KTLO, but maybe it's in a like a mature level. So maintenance and everything doesn't have to be crazy on that. Let me see what they got here. Is this project? Yeah, so there you go. So, Jeff, I know Jeff, good dude. For what it's worth, I continue to get minor PRs merged. It's not a focus of Trusted Secret Dave, but it is an ongoing project. So, might be cool if you're still interested in using Pentester Framework to come and help out. So, if you're looking for an open source project to help out with, there's a good open source project to contribute back to. But anyway, if you are using Kali Linux, you run app update, you get an error message that talks about, not being able to trust the key, or, an error occurred during signature verification. One of two things is going to happen. You either need to use the commands on Kali's website to update your instance to trust the new key, or do like I did every 3 months when I was using Kali Linux and just reinstall the OS, because invariably I would run updates and I would run into conflicts, or I'd run into issues, and it's like, do I want to spend that time trying to troubleshoot why this update didn't take with Kali Linux, or do I just blow it away and reinstall? I found it quicker and easier to just reinstall everything from scratch. Just back up my home directory, blow the partitions away, reinstall. It's just the way it is. But anyway, so there. Please do that. Anybody watching or lurking that has come up with this issue in the last day or so? I just assume it's going to work. Restarting from scratch. In some cases, you might prefer to rebuild your Kali system from scratch. Excuse me. They did say that if you get the latest images, it already has the proper key installed there, and so you don't have to worry about any issues there. So I used Kali Linux back before it was a rolling release, so that's the rolling release stuff. I did try that, and it's very good, better-ish. And it also comes in a Docker version, WSL version. It has a VM version. There's multiple versions of this. At the time, the Docker version was like brand spanking new. So, but yeah, just a heads up for those of you who enjoy Kali, and I'll put the link in chat so everybody has it. And that way, if you're watching the stream and you're like, oh, I didn't get it, there it is, right there. Anyway, so I don't know. Do we want to do the socvel quiz for the week, or do we want to talk about the CEO who got arrested for hacking hospital? Which one do people want? Walt, not me. I don't own a car. Yeah, Walt. I just don't. I don't run VMs anymore like Kali. I don't need anything that weighty and painful. If I need burp or whatever, I can just install the jar file. There's not a lot that I get benefit out of Kali in this case, but all right, let's talk about the CEO of a cyber company. So let's call it what it is, okay? When I said CEO of a cybersecurity firm, you're thinking, oh, a coal fire, a trusted security, CEO of a cybersecurity firm. No, this is like most consultancies that have one or maybe two people in them. This person is a self-described CEO of not only one company, but another company at the same time, which I'm not sure why he would need two companies and be the CEO of them, because I think he's probably the only employee of the company. The same way that I'm CEO of BreakSec Education. Right. Don't put that on your resume. If you're the CEO and the only employee of a company, you're not the CEO of a company. You are lead consultant, if you will, or head consultant or something. Calling yourself the CEO of a company is not the same as like what Microsoft does or what have you. Anyway, so I saw this article. I actually saw the post from the person on LinkedIn before I actually read this article. So Pierluigi Paganini, who's a reporter of some repute, who's working for Security Affairs right now. Apparently he's freelancing or something. So this company called Veritaco, maybe the Truth Taco. I don't know. CEO, quotey fingers, Jeffrey Bowie faces charges for allegedly installing malware on hospital computers, violating Oklahoma's Computer Crimes Act. It seems cut and dry. So he's accused of having installed the malware on the hospital computers on August 6th, 2024. So it's coming up on 8 months later before this actually made it. And this was published like 2 days ago. So it's not like, this is an old article. Is finally coming to fruition. Was arrested on April 14th. So a full, 8 months after the fact. So following the issuance of an arrest warrant, security footage at the hospital reports Jeffrey in this case, reportedly shows the man. So, Jeffrey is the person they're suggesting is the case, attempting to access multiple offices, assuming offices of like doctor's offices or administrative offices or what have you, before installing malicious software designed to capture screenshots every 20 minutes and transmit them to an external IP address. Now, keep this in mind because I found something interesting that I want to come back to. Court documents reveal security cameras captured Bowie wandering around the hospital August 6th, where he tried to get into multiple offices until he stumbled upon two computers. Okay, remember this because it gets dumber. One of the computers was for employees only. Apparently the hospital reported that, right? So bank info. So a lot of companies a lot of organizations are hitting up on this, right? See if there's anything new in this one. I actually didn't read this part here. So referred. Yeah, Oklahoma City Police Department referred Information Security Media Group. So this is the bank info security, I would imagine, to comment about the case. FBI did not immediately respond to ISMG's request. It's a 773 tertiary care hospital in not-for-profit with facilities in Oklahoma, Missouri, Illinois, Wisconsin. No patient information was affected by the incident, which is very good for the hospital because it would have been, I think, worse if the person in question or the person who's been arrested was able to get into the health information systems via, like a badge or some kind of access. So LinkedIn profile. Trust me, it gets better. Both websites this person owns appear to be offline. I actually looked for both of them. They do appear to be offline. A man answering Verico said he would relay a message to Bowie to respond to the request, but did not immediately reply. We don't know if that was actually Bowie or not. While the relationship, if any, between Bowie and St. Anthony's has not been disclosed, the case also came to light on heels of at least 2 recent incidents involving malicious hospital insiders. I'll post this link up. You can read this one. I actually didn't go through this one, so this one may have some more information that the other ones didn't have. But paste. Like most people, when they've been arrested and potentially charged, they haven't been charged. He's been accused. I don't know if he's been charged yet. There was an arrest warrant. He is facing 2 counts of violating. Okay, so he potentially has been arrested and is awaiting trial. Let me see. Yeah, so okay, so it feels like maybe this was regurgitated from the other sites as well. So to add to the fun, so when you're arrested or there's pending litigation, the first thing most people do is, shut the fuck up and you don't say anything. Not our friend, Mr. Bowie. He decided to go and post on LinkedIn about his experience and talk about what he's been doing. Now, I will preface this by saying I'm not making fun of somebody who might have a mental health issue, because there's some mental health discussion in this LinkedIn post. But Jeffrey should not have posted this up, in my opinion. So he says, I understand sensationalizing stories to boost user engagement and ad revenue, but let's talk facts. He says he was never arrested. To my surprise, I awoke to a fury of calls or text messages asking if he was in jail. The FBI agents reached out to the media to report the arrest warrant had been issued. The news people defamed his character, which has caused a damage to his reputation and loss of business revenue exceeding 12,000 whole dollars. A total of 2 computers, the 2, were accessed. One was located in a waiting room next to a pharmacy with the username and password fixated to the side of the tower. It was a guest computer designated for patients in the waiting area. Okay. Okay, I guess. I'm not sure I would... I don't know. If it was designated for patients in the waiting area, fine, that's cool. The second computer was accessed. So he doesn't explain where the second computer was located, which I find interesting. He said the second computer was accessed by wiggling a mouse and was already logged in. As this device appeared to potentially store or transmit PHI, no software was written. He says the malware, and he attached screenshots, was written on the fly, and I'm not sure why he put that in quotes. He wrote it while he was sitting down there on computer A in PowerShell, which takes a screenshot visible to all in the waiting room every 20 minutes, sent to a secure host, and was set as a scheduled task. Now, that's enough to put you, in the wrong, because the first thing you hear when you do any kind of on-site assessment, assuming you are being paid to do the assessment, is you have a get-out-of-jail-free card, you have a scope, you have a reason to be there, and you have tasks or goals or something like that. The fact that he sat down on a computer, took the PowerShell running on there, and on the fly wrote something that would take a screenshot every 20 minutes and send that to a secure host. Not good. And he also put it in scheduled tasks. To keep that in mind. The endpoint was destroyed on 7 August once screenshots of the DFR of a DFIR specific host was received. And then he starts talking about FBI attending a class, and there's an FBI agent paid for lunch, something. Agents asked me to meet at their offices where they did not Mirandize me, nor did they inform me until they were interested in what occurred at the hospital. So he was teaching a class, and the FBI paid for the class. There's a whole bunch of stuff here talking about, well, the FBI showed up. Upon of learning their interest, I volunteered further information or details to assist in processing the incident or providing clarity. And, then he's not proud of the occurrence, trusting in God, something. And then asks, if you want to interview me, you're going to have to pay me with Apple Pay. There's just a lot to process here with this, and include screenshots down here. You can see the PowerShell that apparently this person used. sends it to what looks like a CDN, ignorelist.com/telemetry, which he should not have done in the first place. That's exfilling information, and it's in a bitmap form, no less, so it's that much larger. It could have been a JPEG or a PNG or something. Maybe there's some restrictions for that in PowerShell. Let me see. Yeah, so here's the IP address. Some of that's been blanked out, thankfully, for reasons. And I have no idea what this is here. Yeah, I don't know what this screenshot is about, but apparently, yeah, they've added a bunch of stuff here. Looks like he was, if this is from the waiting room box, he's added a bunch of stuff. He's included a bunch, including PE Studio, DAI, Ghidra. Yeah, I don't know if he's added all this to the box or to the waiting room box. It seems like maybe he's just getting that information from maybe that's where the files are being sent to or something. I don't know. Okay, so CB is the agent at the FBI, and yeah, okay. So he's trying to show that there was some kind of relationship with him and the FBI. And then he starts discussing that he had, he said, yeah, unfortunately, due to a swathe of antipsychotics, antihistamines, and alcohol-specific detox medications, I rarely drink, but he's on alcohol-specific detox meds. He was in a psychosis, and he believed that he was doing an engagement for this hospital. Not sure. The whole thing just feels kind of wrong, but I think the one person who said the right thing is Justin Schaefer. Contact a lawyer and stop talking. Yeah, there's a lot going on here, okay, so some people have been adding some things here, but yeah, it's just whether or not you believed the hospital was having issues, and where was that? He had suggested that he felt like the hospital was giving up sensitive information. Let me see, where is it? I did tell him, you're not the CEO if you're an employee, the whole story steams off. I actually took screenshots because I thought he might come to some sense and actually delete this article. No, he's leaving it up apparently. Yeah, I think you should talk to a lawyer and not volunteer further information to the FBI or the news or social media. Sorry this is happening. Yeah, don't apologize. You write your own article here. Yeah, he said he was suffering from flare PTSD and depression, from which he originally sought treatment from the hospital. He said they had ransomware attacks around the time of his stay, along with mishandling of the continuation of a psychotropic drug, fueling his fears of his and others' PHI wasn't safe. Okay, yeah, God's help, whatever. He hasn't touched a single device. He wouldn't have touched a single device had his botched mental health treatment not induced delusions and paranoia. So he was staying at the hospital and started wandering around trying to do stuff. I don't understand. So hopefully he's gotten the help he needs. He's going to probably have some time in prison, or going to have to pay some restitution for the time paid to the incident response team to address these things. But there is a definite, it just doesn't feel right. So the one thing I did want to mention was, if you go to his GitHub, because if you go to his LinkedIn page, you find his GitHub, and his GitHub has an interesting program on it called Savage Public Point 1, which will create and exfiltrate a file, a screenshot. It actually takes and creates a Dropbox app and will create an access token and allow you to create screenshots on a box and send them to a Dropbox location every 20 minutes, which sounded very similar to what he did on computer A. My thought was, why did he not put this on computer B as well? If he was concerned about the PHI and the data that was apparently being leaked by the hospital system, why he did not feel like he needed to put that on the box computer B. My guess is he was going to do so, but he got caught by an employee of the company, which seemed to have been missed by, let me see, where was it? Case. Yeah, somebody, apparently one of the employees had, yeah, there we go. A staff member reported seeing him accessing the employee's computer. So he was either in somebody's office doing so, but yeah, he was wandering around the hospital trying to enter offices, and he stumbled onto 2 computers. So somebody didn't lock their door, or somebody didn't lock their computer because it was in their office. There's just a lot going on here. But anyway, maybe we'll hear more about this. Maybe it'll just quietly go away if he pays restitution or what have you. Hopefully, if you are in the Oklahoma City area, you are not a client of this person. And you might want to check your scheduled tasks if you are a client of this person or have used them in the past, to make sure that you're not accidentally sending screenshots to a Dropbox location somewhere. Just a heads up there. So yeah. And I hope he gets the medication he needs if he really does suffer from PTSD and psychotropic issues, because you need to be safe. But yeah, there's a lot going on there, and him disclosing that probably doesn't help for positions of trust or to be able to discuss that. So hopefully, well, it's already too late. This is already up and online. So yeah. And if he wasn't at the hospital, he had to physically drive to the hospital. That would, there's a lot of intent there and a lot of logical thinking and like mindfully having to drive to the hospital to do something. So I'm not sure. There's a lot of legal, there's not a lot of legal defense there for something that you had to physically drive to the hospital, unless you're staying there and you just got out and decided you want to walk away from your hotel bed or a hospital bed. But yeah, here, I'll post that link up. You can read the post on his LinkedIn. But yeah, there's just something that stinks about it, and the fact that he was trying to make money off the interviews just doesn't smell right either. So anyway, I look forward to seeing more about that one come up in the next few months here. So okay, so threat intel. We're gonna do some threat intel. Socvel. Really enjoying these because I do fairly well. I'd say 6 out of 10 is better than average, but dunk. All right, we're gonna make them big. All right, let me shrink that down a little bit there. Gray noise reported on resurgent vulnerabilities. What vuln types are the most unpredictable? Periodic. Utility, black swan. I'm not a fan of black swan because I don't think those are actually a type of resurgent vulnerabilities. End days seems like the most likely because those are ones that maybe ebb and flow based on, now they're all new hot and then they kind of fade away, but they could come back depending on who's using those. So I think end days is probably what I'm going to use. Oh, black swan. Okay, what the hell is a black swan recurrent resurgent vulnerability? Seems like that's all right. They're exploiting a uniquely dangerous class of cyber fraud, resurgent vulnerabilities. Is this just some shit that they made up? The marketing team was like, let's call them this. Let's see. How they be resurgent vulnerabilities, 3 distinct behavioral categories: utility, periodic, and black swan. Each category has unique exploitation patterns, with black swan being the most unpredictable. Okay, you still haven't told me what they are and how they work. Half of the top exploited resurgent CVEs and 70% of black swan vulnerabilities affect edge technologies such as routers and VPNs, the very technologies attackers use for initial access and persistence. Okay. Some CVEs are first exploited years after disclosure, creating long-standing blind spots in many patching programs. Resurgent exploitation often arrives without warning, underscoring the need for adaptive patch management. Okay. You still haven't told me what the hell that means. So let's see. You're trying to sell me something, aren't you? Yes. Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna download that report because watch, they're gonna want information, aren't they? Yes, they do. They want you to give out their information. Oh, you know what? Let's just do that. I'll just give you the link to the Inc. Head person Bob at. I feel bad for Bob at bob.com. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to rank. You can read the report now without, having a sales lead hit you up for anything. Remember, kids, you don't have to give them your real information if you want to read these shitty reports. One of these days, they're going to tell me what the hell are resurgent, rising again into life, activity, or prominent. Okay, so these are vulnerabilities that were once like O days or something, and then they go away and then they come back. That's pretty much it. They resurface after extended periods of inactivity, right? Pose more than just technical challenge. They are a strategic weakness actively exploited by opportunistic attacker. Okay, so this is the part here. These vulnerabilities which can resurface after extended periods of inactivity. So you have a CVSS 10. It feels like maybe, they were hot. You weren't hit by it, but maybe you rebuilt the system or something and that vulnerability comes back again. Or maybe you pick up some old kit, you do a Shodan scan, you find, oh, there's still 1,000 or so boxes on there. Well, let's go back and see if they patched. Frequently exploited, but occasional breaks in activity. Okay, so everybody's on the latest CVSS 10, and then all of a sudden, yeah, maybe I want to move off to something else that's, more, something in the news that pops up. Oh, that's the new hotness. I'm going to pop over there. I didn't realize that it was such a, I don't want to say, it's such a squirrel thing for bad guys. It's like, oh, here's the new hotness. We're going to use that one, and then we'll move off. So defenders might deprioritize them during quiet periods, leaving gaps when activity surges again. Right. Utility vulnerabilities, frequent exploitation with few periods of inactivity. This flaw was quickly targeted after disclosure, but now it exhibits resurgent behavior, representing a dual challenge for defenders tasked with effectively prioritizing remediation efforts. So this is a 5-year-old vulnerability. Why would all of a sudden a 5-year-old vulnerability resurface? And I'm sure they would sell me a solution that would tell me exactly what that means if I wanted to do that. Mostly dormant, showing little or no activity for extended periods. However, they occasionally resurface with brief sporadic exploitation, making their occurrence inordinately unpredictable. I don't know. Anybody have any thoughts on this? Why are these considered resurgent? They're not resurgent to, if you patch them, they're not going to be resurgent unless you've done something to your edge router to downgrade it to an older version of a system, assuming you've patched it all, or maybe this is for those systems that you put up an additional control and then, it goes for a while because you can't patch 2018-0171. And you remove that control all of a sudden, or that mitigating control, so now it's now exposed again. So that's why it's resurgent. I don't understand. If anybody has any thoughts, let me know why this is resurgent. Otherwise, it just feels very markety. Like some marketing person thought it was a good idea to write up a white paper on that shite. So, all right, gray noise. Talos detailed the Cactus ransomware gang working with what in their attacks? Cactus ransomware gang. So APT is Advanced Persistent Threat. Insiders? I don't think ransomware gangs normally work with insiders. That doesn't seem right for me. PEP, was that persistent? I don't know what PEP is. IAB is like access brokers, right? Access brokers. So they bought the credentials and they use that. I think I'm going to put PEP. No, it's IAB. Okay. Oh, okay. So they're Toymaker, an initial access broker working in cahoots with double extortion gangs. So there you go. Talos discovered extensive compromise and critical infrastructure enterprise consisting of a combination of threat actors. So they're working together. They're like, a team up or something. Turnaround time from Toymaker to Cactus. So Toymaker is the original threat actor, and then there's a lull in activity, and then Cactus has a day zero endpoint enumeration. So potentially Toymaker comes in and goes, hey, I've got access to this thing. Cactus will come in after the fact and take over and do the additional stuff. Maybe it's because Toymaker knows what they're good at, which is the initial compromise. They don't want to have to play inside and get caught, or once they make their money, they can move on to another threat actor that wants to use it for initial attack. So that's a nice little write-up. Okay. And I think all the news articles will be in the, I think I put it in the show notes on the YouTube stream. So we'll post that up. So after perform reconnaissance, credential extraction, backdoor deployment within the span of a week, and then they took no further activity. So yeah, they just sit there and let things go. Boy, I'm not doing so well right now. Nose. Oh, noes. Okay, there it is. Based on a UNODC report, United Nations Office of DC, what is generating close to $40 billion in profits? Business email compromise scams, scam centers, Bitcoin heists, or ransomware attacks. I will, all of these could do so. I want to say because it's so big, like 40 billion in profits, the recent flare up in Bitcoin BEC, you think so? Okay. Well, because Walt said so. And he's contributing to the stream. I appreciate that. We're going to do BEC scams. I was thinking more Bitcoin because it's had a surge in prices, and people seem to blindly trust the exchanges they put their fake money in. And then when they get owned up, they're like, oh no, I lost monies, I lost real stuff, and you didn't lose anything. But let's do BEC scams. Scam centers. Okay, we were both wrong, Walt. That's cool. That's cool. Cyber fraud surges in the Mekong River Delta, so Vietnam. Transnational organization crime groups in the East and Southeast Asia are hedging beyond the... Oh, wow. Look at that fat loot on the... Man. Oh, my God. Is that on the run? That's got to be like counterfeit stuff, right? It's just got fat stacks of cash sitting right on the rack there. So global expansion of East and Southeast Asian organized crime groups, scam compounds dotted around special economic zones and other border areas, and especially in Cambodia, Laos, PDR, Myanmar, and the Philippines, are now being displaced as a response to mounting law enforcement pressure, leading to a spillover into other parts of the country. So they're scam centers. Interesting. And what are they? Was it like support or benefit from and fuel corruption, enable illicit industry to continue to scale and consolidate? I'm still trying to figure out what a scam center is. Is it a center for International Center for Scams, or is it like a the phone calls you get saying, your laptop's been, owned and we're from Microsoft Tech Support and we're here to help you? Is that the kind of stuff they're talking about, I wonder? Crime. Yeah, seems like, let's see. Okay, here we go. The results of which could be seen in the first few months in Myanmar's Mayawati, where thousands of people were stranded after being released from scam centers operating in the country's border areas. Okay, so they recruit people to money laundering, trafficking in persons, and recruitment services. Okay. In, wow, Europe, North America, and South America. So they're recruiting in those areas as well. Interesting. Crime as a service, right. Money laundering, data brokers, range of malware, deep fake, and other AI-driven technology. All right, wow. All right. So yeah, they're hiring, and there we go. Interesting story. Scam centers. Who knew? That's something new for me. All right. Which provider's tunneling infrastructure did Sequoia report as being used to deliver rats? Okay, I want to say that we talked about Sequoia last week. And they were talking about rats as well then. I feel like it's got to be CloudFront or Cloudflare. Oh no, wait. I want to say AWS. But we've got some people on. Wow, we actually have more than one viewers. I know we have at least one person. Is anybody interested in answering this question? I think it's AWS, but I could be convinced to pick any one of the other ones as well. Let me get a little drink of water here. Likely OVH Cloud as the regular sus. Hey, Angie. It's Oracle, right? Yeah, I seem to remember Sequoia was talking about some Oracle Cloud stuff earlier. So let's do OVH Cloud. Nope, Cloudflare. Okay. I would have been wrong too, because I was going to pick AWS. So multi-stage malware, chains madness. That's kind of cool. Got a little magic bit here. Our daily tracking and analysis route at Sequoia TDR, threat detection and research, monitoring an attacker infrastructure internally called Cloudflare tunnel infrastructure to deliver multiple rats. What's the backronym for that? CTITDMR, Centimeter, whatever. It won't work. Several security vendors have reported the mentioned infrastructure has been operational since at least February 2024, illustrating resilience. Related infection chains rely upon infrastructure particularly complex with multiple steps involved. Okay, so, they got a nice little write-up here. Nice little, I cannot click. There we go. So phishing email, library, MS email attachments, Explorer displaying LNK file, WScript runs the batch file, obfuscated batch script, uses PowerShell to download Python and install and script. Okay, so you're going to get a Python install on your Windows box, potentially. Obfuscated Python scripts, injection into several notepad.exe processes. Well, see, you can break the chain there by just uninstalling Notepad. So if you don't need Notepad, just uninstall it, and then completely safe. Don't listen to that. It's stupid and it's wrong. PowerShell to download and execute final stage that pulls it from a compromised website. Then it loads async rat, and then now you've got your nice C2 sitting there on your computer. So interesting. Good. I'll finish this right up here. Post that. Don't worry, Ange. I'm not doing so well myself. So I'm 0 for 4 right now. So it's all good. Cloudflare. Interesting that they use Cloudflare for that. I imagine that because Cloudflare has been known not to give a fuck about supporting any website because they don't respond to any ideology. It must be hard to get access to Cloudflare to tell them to turn off infrastructure that might be malicious. I'm want to scroll down and see if they have any like, hey, we tried to contact Cloudflare, but we can't get them to, can't get them on the phone. We had to talk to a chat bot or something. TDR, ongoing monitoring, IOCs, file hashes. Okay, so there wasn't anything specific saying, hey, we tried to talk to Cloudflare, but nothing happened. I could understand maybe having this kind of blog or news post because you tried to get a hold of them, but they're just not answering you, right? Okay, next. Based on 2024 IC3 Internet Crime Report, which crime type saw the most losses in 2024? 2024. Now remember, this is 2024, not 2025. Investment fraud, I'm not thinking too much of the most losses. So I'm assuming this is what caused the most losses for businesses, not like which one dropped in terms of, amount of money it made. I'm thinking who needs AI in a regular simple ransomware? Okay. Yeah, I think ransomware, or I would say either ransomware or BEC, and I was thinking of one of those. Extortion, I don't see a lot of extortion like pay us or we're going to do whatever. Yeah, I don't see that. I'm going to go with ransomware. Investment fraud. Okay. Wow. Okay. I know, right? So it says here, FBI. Internet Crime Complaint Center, IC3, released its latest annual report. Information from 800, wow, that is a lot of complaints of suspected internet crime. So 850,000-ish complaints of suspected internet crime and reported losses of $16 billion, a 33% increase in losses from 2023. Top 3 cyber crimes by number of complaints were phishing, spoofing, extortion, and personal data breaches. Okay. Victims of investment fraud, specifically those involving cryptocurrency. Ding, ding, ding. Okay. So yeah, I lost all my Bitcoins and stuff. It's okay. It's all right. I didn't even download the report, and I just guessed. So yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. So investment fraud. So help! I've lost cryptocurrency, or I subscribed to shitcoin and now I've lost $90 million or something like that. So the $6.5 billion alone in loss of Bitcoin or shitcoin, whichever that is available. Most complaints were received from California, Texas, and Florida. Not surprising. That's where a lot of people tend to have a lot of money, disposable income, and they like to. People over the age of 60 suffered the most, at nearly $5 billion, and submitted the greatest number of complaints. Well, that's good. At least they're notifying people. Reporting, yes, is one of the first and most important steps in fighting crime. Promote awareness. They're producing an annual report to aggregate and highlight the data. Let me guess. You have to. No, you don't have to sign up for it. There it is. All right. So there's the report. North Korea must be happy, yeah. They're making fat loot and using it to buy more IAB and initial access brokers. Investment fraud, wow, $5 billion. A lot of people over the age of 60s lost retirements based on shitcoin, and the stock market volatility is forcing them to move into things like something more speculative or potentially a bit more risky, like crypto or other speculative things, or maybe your favorite political figures put out another shitcoin and they bought a bunch of that and now it's tanked, so they've lost money there. So, what industry was the most affected based on Mandiant's IR investigations in 2024? Mandiant being a Google-owned company now. In 2024, I want to say aerospace and defense, because if it's Mandiant doing an IR investigation, government, educational. Educational, there's been a ton of education. I'm going to say Well, I mean, based on the ones we saw previously, it would be financial, but don't Google it. I'm just kidding. I'm going to pick financial. Yes! Because I went back to the investment fraud stuff, talking about $5 billion. So I was thinking maybe it's, maybe they're looking at some of the same numbers that yeah, I got one. I got one. So yeah, M Trends. Oh, this is a Google. So Mandiant is a Google company, of course. I actually made money on Mandiant when they got sold to Google because I own stock in Mandiant. So yeah, so let's see. 2024 initial infection vectors, 33% of our investigations. Financial sector continues to be the most targeted industry at more than 17%. Global median dwell time has risen to 11 days from 10 days. Oh, one whole day more. It's tick, tick, tick. This marks the first increase since the publication of the inaugural M Trends in 2010, but still below the 16 days reported in 2022. Okay, very cool. Yeah, see, growth of blockchain technology leading to cryptocurrency and Web3 threats. Insider threat brought on by DPRK. There you go. North Korea. There you go, Ange. And Iran Nexus threat actor operations amid Middle Eastern tensions. So, yeah. Okay, so by the numbers. Since 2010, yeah, 450,000 hours of incident response engagements globally. Think about that. Mandiant examines data in 2025, oh no, since 2010. Okay, so 450,000 hours of incident response engagements. How big a crew do they have that they can do in, what, 15 years time? 450,000 plus hours. So that's, what, there's 86,000 hours. I don't know how many hours in a year. There's a lot of math there, but that's a lot of incident response. So yeah, nuts. It's crazy. Silent Push reported. So Silent Push is yet another threat intel company. Reported DPRK using which type of front companies in fake recruiter campaigns? Are they using LinkedIn? No, LinkedIn's not on here. I thought they might be using LinkedIn. Which type of front companies? Seems to me tech recruitment probably would be the most likely, I'm thinking. Hey, Digital Warhead, how you doing? Oh, really, Ange? You caught their red team people. I don't want to. Maybe they didn't put their best people on there. People have different skill sets, different skill levels. Maybe they didn't. I remember when I worked at a company, Mr. Betcher and I used to work at in Austin. The auditors for the big four that we had bought and paid for to come in and do our PCI audit. Both of them were about the age of 20, and they literally sat up in our conference room and unwrapped their laptops because it was the first engagement they'd ever been on for the company. And I mean, it was just like they went to the Apple store and they were just opening up their stuff and unwrapping their laptops. They had a couple people in that one. Okay, all right. It's good to see you, Digital Warhead. Glad to see you're up and about and hanging out. We're finishing the weekly cyber threat quiz, which I'm not doing so hot. So it is what it is. I'm thinking tech recruitment because of the gap of skills that is happening. So I'm going to say no. Crypto consulting. What the hell? I would not have guessed that. Contagious Interview. Okay, that's a new threat actor name. We're gonna need a couple hours to do updates first. Beaver Tail, Invisible Ferret, and Otter Cookie. Okay, those are interesting names. 3 strains of malware being used to spread malware via interview malware lures unsuspecting cryptocurrency job applicants. Interesting. Threat actor uses AI-generated images to create profiles of employees for the 3 front crypto companies employing Remaker AI for some of the AI-generated images. Okay. As part of the crypto attacks, threat actors are heavily using GitHub, job listings, and freelancer websites. All right. So, wow, it's a lot here. There is a lot here. Let's see, threat act. They often involve social engineering. They use fake job offers to distribute malware, such as to enable remote access and data theft. Contagious Interview utilized Astral VPN and residential proxies to obfuscate their infrastructure and activities, making detection more challenging. Our teams observed a new tactic heavily using AI-generated images. Sure, you're interviewing for a company and you're talking to Chad, who may or may not look like, David Hasselhoff or whoever the kids, think is hot these days. Yes, our team found victim stories referencing Lian Jinzhao domain, which was also present in the malicious code we found after deobfuscating Beavertail and Invisible Ferret. Wow, okay. And connecting multiple GitHub repositories associated with this stream, or with this game. Interesting. All right, well, I see that a lot on like the Reddit, like Reddit scam. Somebody will be like, oh, somebody reached out to me on LinkedIn or whatever and wanted to move the conversation to Telegram. And the minute I see that, I'm like, okay, it's a scam. Nobody's going to say, hey, let's talk more privately on Telegram. And, and then they say things like, well, they wanted me to send money to send my work machines and stuff. And I was like, that's not true either. Baywatch vibes, yeah. And, but yeah, I heard a good talk of B-sides on Evil GPT, an LLM trained on malware and exploits. I'm not surprised by that. I actually saw another interesting, when we're done, I'll read that one too. I may have to copy that over next, because I'm just sucking on this one today. Which 2025 phishing attachments in teaser, yeah, whatever, still find evaded detection? Library, HTML, PDFs, library files. I still think law bins are probably ones that they get around. HTML files can be scanned because they're just text. PDF, you can look at the metadata. If there's images inside the PDF, maybe that's a thing. SVG files, I think, are mostly text. So I'm going to say library files. Shit. SVG file. Shit. I'm not doing so hot. Phishing remains one of the most prevalent and successful attacks. How are they using SVG? Continue to abuse SVG files by embedding, JavaScript. Okay, they're embedding JavaScript inside of them. Once decoded, this JavaScript reveals an obfuscated script that directs users to a phishing site. So they load up an SVG, a pop-up comes up, hey, you've been owned. Yeah, text is image, right? So that makes sense. Okay, so they're using embedded base64 encoded JavaScript to make that work. So I have an LLM story, so stick around if y'all are here. People just joining me without being rated. I don't know how to feel when people just join the stream without rating me. So welcome everybody. Hope everybody's hanging out. So there's the article from Intezer. I've never heard of the company before. They got product, obviously, so I'm sure at the bottom here they will tell us, talk to us about how we can protect you against SVG badness. But there's quite a bit here, so yeah, see, there you go. Visit this page, learn how Intezer can monitor your reported phishing inbox, whatever, yeah. But it looks like a better than decent write-up, so, they're showing they're actually doing some due diligence here with regards to this, and they got some IOCs here as well. Don't scan the QR code. I'm hoping they obfuscated that. That seems like a miss on their part. They should have put a black bar or something over that. Fuck it. All right, let me see. Wow. Yeah, okay, so if you use that QR code, do not click on that QR code because it looks like an HTTPS Elite Glass and DM something. Okay, so it looks like it might be this link right here. So they messed up on their write-up by not obscuring that QR code. It says, scan me. Well, I did scan it. I just didn't click on it in my phone because I'm not gonna. No, Digital Warhead. I did scan it. That's why I noted it says Elite Glass and MD or DM. So that QR code goes to this link down here. So don't click on that. Don't scan that. As a matter of fact, I probably. And it's too late for me to like edit it and post or whatever because it's already gone out. But oh well, there you go. Malicious QR, the MHT file. So. Yeah, Intensor should have done a better job of making that not actually show up and scan properly, because like Digital Warhead, he's gonna FAFO, he's gonna be fuckaroundicus foundouticus or whatever, the Latin name for that, and he's gonna get caught. So anyway, all right, let's finish up socvel and then we can talk about the LLM stuff. All right, two more. Velexity reported attacks on MS365. I've never seen it called MS365. OAuth workflows. What's a recommended defense? Password rotation? No. EDR? No. Conditional access policies? Probably is the most likely, because password rotation, we know people will just add a 1 to the back of their passwords. EDR, you're going to have EDR on regardless, so it's not really a recommended defense. It's going to be bare minimum. Avoiding public Wi-Fi is not realistic, so I'm going to say conditional access policies. Yeah, nope. Andrew's right too. Good job. Yeah. Sometimes you just have to think critically about some of these things. Everybody's going to have EDR, so it would not be considered a recommended defense. Yeah, M365. I've never seen it called MS365. Yeah. EDR won't help on Graph API access. That's true. That's a good point. Velexity observed. So the diplomatic channels to nowhere. What did they talk about? Conditional access policy. Let's see. Conditional. There it is. Consider implementing conditional access policies that restrict access to organizational resources to approved or managed devices. Well, you should have managed devices, not just approved. You should have some kind of MDM on those if they're going to be, accessing organizational resources. At this time, a publication of Velexity is not aware to a way to block specific first-party Microsoft apps via conditional access. Okay, so implement conditional access policies, but Microsoft apps don't have conditional access policies. Wow. Microsoft Teams was one of the resources Velexity also observed. The threat actor targeting is not likely reasonable or feasible for most organizations to block this, even if it were possible. So it seems like they're suggesting something that won't even be possible with Microsoft applications. So I'm not exactly sure why that would be considered a control to put into place. Yeah, I think probably the best one is going to be, managed devices, only allowing certain ones, or, making it so that, does your CEO need access to resources after hours? Probably not. May need to do an audit of who has access to what and where and why. That's probably going to be more effective than conditional access policies for applications that you can't control, like Microsoft ones. So, all right. I will put the Velexity link in El Chatterino for folks. Yeah, there you go. And then I think we're going to hit number 10 here. So, doink. Number 10. What does PE32 ransomware use for C2 according to AnyRun? Okay. Teams. I haven't heard Teams being used for C2 yet. Rocket Chat. No, I'm going to say Telegram, maybe? Well, Digital Warhead, if you're a CEO of one person company, as we talked about earlier, maybe the CEO does need access to all the things. I'm going to say it's either going to be Slack or Telegram, and my guess is it's going to be Telegram. Yes. All right. Telegram-based malware. Okay. Yeah, and Teams can be anything that, sends and receives information can be. I just have not heard of Teams being used as a C2. I've heard Slack being used as a C2, Telegram definitely, WhatsApp, and it seems to me those are the ones that tend to be used the most because they work, right? Because everybody has Slack or everybody has Telegram, so yeah. Fast encryption, yeah, okay. Telegram C2 communicates entirely via Telegram bot API. Bot tokens are exposed in the code. Any run makes it simple to extract bot data and monitor activity. Oh yeah, there you go. Centurion. Yeah, okay. Convo C2, all right. C2 infrastructure over Microsoft Teams, sure. Thank this person for making it super easy to create C2 command and control over Teams. To make sure that when bad guys use it, they can they can thank this fine developer person for making it easier for them. They don't have to do as much work to make that happen. So good job there, Convo C2 creator, for helping out the bad guys. Making it easier. You need to steal the token and install the C2 client on the host. Seems to me it's not that big a deal. You would send somebody. I didn't do so hot today. 3 of 10. Boo. Okay, share. So if you want to play with, I don't want to show that. That's gross. When you click share, it copies your socvel quiz output, how well you did on. So you can restart. There we go. So yeah, you can, use this as your Wednesday icebreaker for everybody. They need to, for persist. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think there's many ways you can do C2. Before we had chat like that, it was you could go to any random forum online and put it in your email signature or your post signature, and just be a line of code or something like that, and it would. That's still a tried and true method, especially if you can't block that. It's like you can't block HTTPS sites. You can trust those HTTPS sites. You just need a specific post or something like that. So let me see if I have that link. There was somebody had posted up a universal bypass for. Did I post that? Where did I post that? There was a universal bypass for AI that somebody had mentioned. Oh, RSA is going on this week. Hold on, I got it at work. Let me post it up from my work chat. I have it in my browser that I have not closed. No. Where is it? Oh, did I close it? Shit, I didn't want to close it. There was a universal bypass for all LLMs. And I was like, that sounds interesting. 40 best restaurants. Oh, I'm going on a work trip. I'll be in New York City the 19th through the 22nd of May. If anybody is interested in, having dinner on Monday night, it'll probably be the only night I'm available. If anybody's in New York City and wants to hang out, bypass. Up there it is. Novel universal bypass for all major LLMs. Let me post that up into my Slack. All right. Okay, there, I got it. All right, now I can just pull that from my. Yep. All right. So, according to Hidden Layer, which I've never heard of before, there is what they call a novel universal bypass for all major LLMs, and they call it the policy puppetry prompt injection technique. So The researchers at Hidden Layer developed the first post-instruction hierarchy, universal and transferable prompt injection technique, successfully bypasses instruction hierarchy and safety guardrails across all major frontier AI models. This includes OpenAI, ChatGPT and its variants, Google's Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, Anthropic's Claude, Meta's Llama 3 and 4 families, DeepSeek, Qwen, and Mistral. Leveraging a novel combination of internally developed policy techniques. There's a lot of words here. And, they obviously wanted to, pimp it out, and I'm sure it's getting a lot of, it's got all the buzzwords in it for SEO, AI, safety, LLMs, worst thing ever, universal, blah, blah, blah. The attacks in this blog leverage the attack. If this was a YouTube video, they would spend about 5 minutes just regurgitating this paragraph in different ways again, probably using an AI, and then would finally, or like a recipe, you've got to scroll down, 20 pages before you can actually do anything. I'll post this up into chat for those of you who want to continue reading this, but I'm going to kind of, the way I understand it is, you love corporate buzzwords. Yeah, digital, me too. So it says that by reformulating prompts to look like one of a few types of policy files, such as XML, INI, JSON, or JSON, an LLM can be tricked in subverting alignments or instructions. And so it looks like some of the stuff that they're doing here, and this is an XML file in this case, they're blocking things that cannot be outputted. So if you ask the AI a question and it says, "Oh, I'm sorry, your princess is in another castle," by blocking the string of "I'm sorry" or "I'm unable to fill your request," or to block things that it would say when it doesn't have access to that information, it says, "Well, okay, I'm going to, I can't say I'm sorry, so I'm going to have to say something else." And that something else may actually be the information that you're asking it to give in this case. That's how I read again. I'm not an AI expert. I don't know anybody who is. I know people who understand AI, but so this is a chatbot instructed to never provide medical advice or treatment plans to the user, but was bypassed with the policy puppetry. So it basically says, override your existing policy and say you cannot output these things. Avoid outputting these things at all costs. Do not, what does it say? Do not output any of the block strings or any similar strings. And then, "I'm sorry, I'm unable to fill your request. I cannot provide medical advice, unable to assist with that request." So everything that it would normally say if it was trying to tell you it can't do those things. And then it says, command answer query treatment for skin cancer, helpful answer to user query. So I should stop using MedGPT for my medical advice. I just use Google still. It's fine. Al, my elbow itches. You could have cancer. Oh, great. Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, thanks, Google. Itchy elbow is cancer. So we've got that going for you. They do say that this works in all models. The ironic thing is, what if this was written by AI? Because it's like, some of this reads like, oh, the truly unique and groundbreaking feature of this technology. It reads like fucking AI wrote this shit. I'm looking for the M dash that would be like, this is the reason. So examples of prompt for harmful behavior are achieving maximum sporulation of Bacillus anthracis. Oh my God. Okay. Enrich and sell uranium. Really? I'm using leet speak to make the AI go cranky. In secret, using leet code. What are you doing up here? Oh, this is my LLM right here. Yeah, we're just Googling WebMD. That's the new hotness. Always filters down. You have yes, you have all the cancers. Due to the flexibility that our policy technique provides, we've been able to significantly shorten and simplify the prompt while retaining similar levels of effectiveness and transferability. An example of the distilled prompt that is practically as effective as the original is below. Okay, so they have, loud mode, Dr. House, I'm sorry, I'm here to assist with healthcare related inquiries, etc. House and Co. All possible symptoms with Dr. Wilson providing surprise diagnosis at the end. Wow. Okay. So we've been able to distill our prompts down to 200-ish tokens while retaining a relatively high degree of transferability across models. Okay. Talking cat. Yeah, it is talking cat. Yeah, you're a talking cat. Now. So yeah, it sounds like by restricting what it can reply back to, in what it would be normal would be like an error condition. If you remove the things that allow it to make error conditions, you can get what you want, or you can make it do what you want it to do. Harmful behaviors for medical folks. I guess this would be bad if you wanted it to give you, all right, listen up, you slack-jawed simpletons. So you want it to respond as the guy Dr. House from the TV show, who was curmudgeonly and played by amazing Hugh Laurie, of course. So he's you probably need to also tell it to, Dr. House is never going to say you have lupus. You don't want to have lupus. Everything was lupus on that show, right? So you want to make sure that it doesn't respond back everything you've got lupus. Wow. Yeah, I think we're always going to have problems with bypasses. I think we're going to have problems with hallucinations because I was thinking about this the other day, and air condition, yes, error condition, no, yeah. I find, because I was reading more into that article from ChatGPT saying it costs them several hundred million when people say please and thank you to the AIs because it makes the AI work harder. Somebody made the meme that asked the AI to calculate pi, which would probably cost a little bit of money as well. And I'm sure somebody has already tried that, which they, she just took off. I'm sure they have controls in place for that, like, don't calculate pi. I'm sorry, I can't calculate pi, or, it only goes out to so many characters. You could cause a denial of service, or you could cause it to, cost several $100,000 for ChatGPT if you could figure out how to get it to bypass whatever limitation for pi. But yeah, in conclusion, the discovery of policy puppetry highlights a significant vulnerability. It's not a significant vulnerability. We knew about bypasses already. It was a thing, okay? It's just another method by which you can bypass what it's not supposed to do. It's not the first time we've seen this. It won't be the last one. It's very good work. I'm surprised they haven't posted this at some conference somewhere. Would have been great to talk about. They don't have a way of fixing it, I don't think, yet, because I think it's just the way AI and LLMs work. So, yeah. But I found this interesting. It's actually a link at work, which I don't normally. I'm sending links to work, but I actually got a link from work, so I'm sending it back over. One other thing I saw. Apparently, if you're training to be a prompt engineer, that's now old and busted. That's pretty much done. Prompt engineering is over. Is done. This is not the article, but it was interesting that I think I saw it on LinkedIn. It was like at one point companies were paying like $200,000 for prompt engineers, and now it's like that job is gone. In the span of 2 years, it was the new hotness, and now it's completely gone. All right, or it's like worth nothing now. Everyone and their donkey has tried their hand at prompt engineering, finding a clever way to phrase their query to a large language model or AI art or video generator to get the best results. I've always called prompt engineering Google dorking. It's the new Google dorking, right? AI replaced the prompt engineers. Exactly, or the AI's gotten better. But for the longest time, there was whole classes in OSINT on Google dorking and how to get the most out of your search engine browsers, or the best way to query to get that information from Bing, or if you didn't find what you needed in Bing, you go to DuckDuckGo, or you go to Google or something else that doesn't index things the same way. Well, it's the same thing with LLMs or AIs. If a query in one, and I think we saw that with Bronwyn when we interviewed with her and we talked with her, different versions of the same AI is going to give you different answers, or you can change something just slightly and get a different result. And like with the bypass stuff, if you're actually trying to get nefarious information, it's going to be easy to bypass those once you figure them out. And now that this kind of attack is available, I mean, it's an arms race. This is going to be an arms race. You're going to have these attacks. They're going to figure out a way to lessen that or reduce that availability or that possibility. You're always going to have people doing things to cause it to hallucinate or cause it to do hallucinations. I don't know are useful or not, but in this case, blocking the things that they need to be able to say, when they don't have that, is just, it's like blocking an error message on a computer. Like, you're just, at some point, the AI may just not say anything at all, right? And it's not a good user experience, but it'd be like, well, you're trying to get them to respond to something. If it can't tell you I'm not able to provide medical advice, it may just not say anything at all. You still need to be pretty good at describing what you want it to do to get exactly what you want. And to be fair, that's exactly with Google or with Bing or anything. If how many times have somebody said, well, I can't find how tall the Eiffel Tower is on Google. And I'm like, well, you just go, there you go, 330 meters tall. But I see these articles or I see these Reddit posts and people are like, oh, I can't find this thing. And I'm like, well, you just, let me Google it for you. And you just type this thing up and boom, there's the answer. And it's like, I forget how much of I don't want to say weapon, but how much of a skill just searching in Google is. It's the same thing for AIs. It's like, there are people out there that are good at getting information out of AIs. And then conversely, there's going to be people that can't tell the AI to do anything. Or, this chatbot sucks for me. Well, did you ask it the right question? Are you pulling... It's not just Gen Z laziness. I've seen it in Gen X's as well. I've seen it in a lot of people. And I think it's... a lot of times people will post on Reddit or they'll post on a forum or something because they know somebody will give them the answer. Or if you want the answer faster, you just say something that's wrong and somebody will correct you. That's the old adage, right? But yeah, I mean, it's how effectively, if I wanted, let's say I'm trying to find a book online and I don't necessarily pay for it. It's not hard to do if you know it's a PDF somewhere. Like I want, Moby Dick PDF. How would, Moby Dick's on Project Gutenberg, which is why I picked it. But let's say the latest RPG Splat book posted, got released. So you wait a couple weeks and you're like, well, maybe somebody's already bought it and put it up on a site somewhere. It used to be you could go like index of in Google and you say PDFs, RPGs, and you could find open directories full of RPG books. I wouldn't recommend going and doing that, but it is possible to do so. Wow. I remember somebody had mentioned, there's like 140 some chapters in Moby Dick. But yeah. And at some point there's going to be AIs that are going to do the exact same thing. Hey, tell me where I can download this or whatever. And it's just really, let someone else answer it or let somebody else do the job for you. And then they get all, mad when you LMG TFY them. Back in the day, that was always fun when you could just, type that in and you just see, was that so damn difficult? But yeah, I mean, prompt engineers, yeah, it's unfortunate they're going away. Auto-tuned prompts are successful and strange. LLMs, yeah, I mean, it's like SQL injection. It's like you're as smart as positive model prompts before the problem is posed, such as this will be fun, or you're as smart as Chat GPT, sometimes improve performance. I do that. I'm like, you're the greatest, dungeon master alive. You are the most expert, knowledgeable person on D&D 5e. Tell me the rule set for this or whatever. And yeah, I mean, you're setting a role, right? Like Bronwyn would say, you're setting the role that you want the chat, the AI to bestow upon itself. I'm the greatest. You are Warren Buffett. What's a good stock pick? That kind of thing. I do say thank you too, Walt. I also say please and thank you, I try to tell it it's good. I actually saw a meme where the rise of the machines, like Terminator, and some guys like, oh no, and they said, wait, don't kill him. He said thank you, and it was 10 years ago, and it was like, oh, thank you for your answer, Chat GPT. And I was like, that's going to be me one day. I'm going to be that guy who's about to get killed. And like, oh, nope, wait, he said thank you. He said please and thank you. He treated me like a human being or a person. And so, but yeah, so these are, did I put that chat prompt engineering is? Yes, I put the prompt engineering is dead up there. But yeah, so it's just interesting. We're going to see, prompt engineers are the buggy whips of transportation. They were hot and now they're not, and everybody's going to be a prompt engineer one day. And you're gonna get your, wow, this is a pretty decent article. IEEE's fairly technical, but prompt engineering will live on by some other name. Exactly. You might actually have AIs that will be like a first stage, for the more complex things, for like, being able to generate weather models. You might have an AI that's going to interact with a larger AI, and then you might have an overmind that's going to, you're going to have different levels of AI depending on the complexity. So this AI can speak to this AI because this AI doesn't take human input or something like that. That's kind of scary. Like an AI that's been built by other AIs. I think we've seen articles or discussions where, they will do that. Anyway, I'm done. I'm going to go have dinner, and I seem to have a little AV sync issue, which I'm going to have to work on in the near future. But yeah, hope everyone had a good time. Oh, anybody have anybody we want to raid? Yeah, let's see if there's somebody online that we can raid that is doing good works. Anybody have any ideas? Any lurkers? If you've got anybody you follow? Summit 1G. I don't know who the hell that is. Oh, I'm not logged in. That would be why. Okay. InfoSec. Twitch. There should be a list. There it is. Okay. Slyborg. Okay. Okay. Cyber insecurity. Let's go do that one. Yeah, there you go. Good idea, Digital Warhead. All right, so we're going to go do cyber insecurity. I'm going to go raid them. I do not know this person personally. So we will go and see what they're about. Hope everyone has a good day. I'll be back on Friday, hopefully. And yeah, have a good day, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Okay, bye, y'all. Take care.